I just got this in the mail and I'm so excited about this. 3 packs of new playing cards, and yes, this is what this video will be about, but first I have to do something about the way that I look because it's just not good, man, not good. Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel that no one really knows about. Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel that no one really knows about. Today we are kind of getting back to the roots of this channel, and that is basically trying out a lot of new hobbies. Because if I don't give a shot to everything that I would want to try, then what's even the fun of life? As you might have guessed from the previous I don't know which side I'm facing, so what's the back, like the previous section and the next section. But as you might have guessed from the previous section in this video, which I keep pointing to as being there, my newest fixation is playing cards, and that is specifically cardistry. I've always been attracted to cardistry, and I always thought you must be some kind of a superhuman to be able to have that much dexterity and be able to handle cards the same way a cardist would be able to handle them, because sometimes it literally seems as if those cards are just moving or flying around. So, you know, me being me, I decided to give it a go and see how hard it actually is, and also find out if my hands can actually keep up with learning cardistry or if I have the dexterity of a brick. In order to start, I bought my first bicycle deck of cards 4 weeks ago. It's a classic standard 808. I've been practicing on and off with this bicycle deck for the past 4 weeks, and I'm pretty proud to say that I have some moves down. And to be fair, I'm also proud because I wasn't expecting to be actually able to do this, especially when I'm looking at a lot of cardists that are amazing, and most of them are male, and most of them have really long fingers. So sometimes I would watch tutorials on how to perform a move, and I would be like, yeah, my fingers cannot reach over that, like, my fingers aren't that long, I cannot do that. You guys have to, like, are you serious? Plus, I am left-handed, so that basically means that everything is completely backwards for me. So there were moves where I've actually struggled more to understand what's happening in a tutorial than actually trying to perform the moves. Left-handed life. Before I get into any actual moves, I just want to say that this is a super fun hobby, which is something that you would expect from a hobby. But what's actually nice is the fact that the more you find the comfort in a move, the more you actually start finding yourself fidgeting. So I have found myself fidgeting with some comfort moves while I'm at work, sometimes while I'm in a meeting, while I'm watching a show on Netflix. Like I would actually spend even 3 hours just doing the same moves over and over again, just watching a show. So it does have this kind of fidgety bonus points. But what's also awesome is the fact that I have noticed that it does have some kind of a, let's say, meditative benefit, because in the end, once you get down some of the simple moves, you can just repeat them over and over and your mind just empties, because everything that you're doing is just kind of focusing on doing the same motion and repeating it, and you're not really thinking of anything, you're not really focusing on anything specific. So there is this kind of meditative and soothing kind of side to cardistry, which I wasn't expecting, but it is a big bonus point for me. I thought I'd share what I've learned in a month, in the order that I've learned everything, and also my thoughts on all those moves as a beginner, and also where I am with my progress, and overall the progression that one could have in around 1 month of cardistry. That was a long intro. 1 month of cardistry and all the moves that I've learned, or moves that I'm kind of almost getting down. Number 1 is the riffle shuffle. You want to be the dealer in a game of cards with your friends, you do the riffle shuffle, you flex with a bridge at the end, and that's it, you're sold. I pretty much got this down in a day, but really started feeling comfortable with it around 3 to 4 days, especially since this was the first move that I tried. The biggest struggle was actually finding out how to best grip the cards so I don't drop them when I'm trying to do the riffle. I started doing it like this, with my fingers just holding this edge here, when I was actually supposed to, you know, hold it, you know, more securely in this place here. Number 2 is the charlier cut. The charlier cut is a must. It is one of the basics and the main one-handed cuts that you need in cardistry, and it is also the easiest. There's a certain level of fear when it comes to trying out one-handed cuts for the first time, because it feels like you can't really trust to handle the cards with just one hand. But actually, in about 2 days of trying to do it on and off, I actually got comfortable with it. In around a week, I have actually learned to perform the charlier cut with both of my hands at the same time. And the charlier cut has actually become my comfort move. It's something that I can do easily. It's something that I do, like if I'm in a meeting and I'm fidgeting, I'm doing this. If I'm having a conversation, I'm doing this. I don't have any issue with it. So I really like the charlier cut. I'm sorry. Number 3 on the list is the revolution cut. The revolution cut is the next step into one-handed cuts. I wouldn't actually recommend learning the revolution cut as a third move. I actually struggled with it a lot in the beginning because I just didn't have the dexterity to be able to do it, but it took me around a week to kind of have it down. I've tried to also learn it in my left hand, so I can kind of do it with both hands, but there is still a slight chance of me actually dropping the cards on the floor. But you know, we're getting there, we're progressing. I'm trying to pick up the speed and make the revolution cut much smoother and faster, but it's all about practice. The fourth move that I've tried to learn is the Sibyl cut. Now, the Sibyl cut isn't a one-handed cut, it is actually a fake two-handed cut. I wanted to learn it because I actually wanted something fancier than just me shuffling 2 halves of the deck in one hand. I don't know if it's recommended for beginners, but I did have fun actually learning it. It took me around maybe a day or 2 to fully understand what's happening because I'm left-handed, and also to be able to master all the grips, because you do have moments where you have to hold the cards like this, which is like, it seems easy, but while you're also holding cards. But when you're also holding, like when you're holding those cards with those 3 fingers, and you're also trying to hold a lot of other cards with 2 fingers and stuff like that, it kind of gets complicated for a noob's brain. But in around a week or so, I kind of became able to do it. I know it's not perfect, but I was actually pleasantly surprised when I managed to be able to do it. The next move that I've learned is the scissor cut. The scissor cut is called a scissor cut because the 2 halves of the deck are actually sliding next to each other, just like the blades of a scissor. It's a simple move, but there is this extension that you have to do, so pass the cards on the other side, which was kind of tough for me. The move is extremely simple to understand, but it took maybe 2 or 3 days to actually get comfortable with what's happening in my hand, and also some, some pain in my hand in the first day of trying. But in the end, I did learn how to do it, and I'm also able to do it with both of my hands at the same time, so it pays off. The 6th move that I've learned was the index cut. I'm confused about the name of the cut because I have learned this based off a Skillshare tutorial, but when I'm actually trying to find more info about it on YouTube, I see different cuts. So I might be wrong here. If anyone knows if this is the right name or not, please let me know, because I don't know what's happening here. The index cut is also extremely simple to understand because it's not much happening, but at the same time it's kind of terrifying. My biggest struggle was the fact that what's basically happening is this deck here is actually resting on the nail of this finger. So initially for me as a noob, it was kind of terrifying because it's very unstable. You know, you practice, you build trust with your own hands, you start getting less shaky, and you're getting there. I can do this pretty easily with my right hand. My left hand though is kind of still struggling, but then again, you don't really have to learn all the moves on both hands. The next move that I've tried to learn is the spring. The spring is the most well-known move in the world. A magician going like this, and there's just cards flying from the upper hand to the lower hand. How are they falling so perfectly? How are you catching them? Please notice the fact that I'm not using cards in this example because I have actually not been able to do this yet. I personally put it aside. I'm still struggling to understand how it works. I managed to understand the grip of actually, springing the cards, but the part from, making the cards spring to actually catching them is just, it's killing me. I've always been the kind of person that can't catch anything. If you throw me some keys, I will drop them. If you throw me anything, I will probably dodge it instead of trying to catch it. So that might be the flaw in this entire move for me. But I am still trying on and off, and I hope I will be able to nail it at some point, because that would be a personal success and a way to prove myself that I am able to have some reflexes when stuff gets thrown at me. The next move that I've learned is the thumb cut. When it comes to the thumb cut, what actually happens is you're supposed to have the deck in your hand and reach with your thumb to the opposite side of the deck. Now this seems normal for me right now, but I have actually tried this move for a few hours and then kind of bailed on it completely, because I just couldn't find the way to actually reach with my thumb all the way here. So I kind of just bailed on it. I said, okay, this is not for me. I need the long, skinny fingers that most cardists have in order to actually do this move. But then I've actually noticed someone that was saying to actually split the deck in half and just do it with half a deck. So what I've actually started doing is to learn how to do this cut at the same time with both of my hands by using the two halves of the deck. So once I actually got that down, I just started adding more cards in my non-dominant hand until I could actually, you know, do it with my full deck in my non-dominant hand. The next move that I've tried to learn is the thumb fan. It's one of the core moves. I feel like it's a move that everyone knows when it comes to cardistry. It is extremely simple, but at the same time it is extremely hard. I still do not have it down. I keep trying it a lot. What actually happens is you're supposed to hold the deck in your dominant hand, and your non-dominant hand actually spreads the deck like a fan. It's just not working for me. Once you understand the grip, you kind of have to figure out the pressure. You have to understand the pressure of how you're holding the deck, and also the pressure that you're putting with your finger to actually spread the deck. So there's a lot of trial and error there. Now, as I said before, I have been using this bag for 4 weeks, and some people have told me that actually you're supposed to change decks as much as possible, because once you have too many hand oils on your deck, the cards actually start sticking to each other, so it becomes much more harder to perform a thumb fan. Now, I do have those new 3-packs. I'm actually experimenting the thumb fan with them. It does feel indeed much easier, but I still have to experiment with the pressure to figure out exactly how I'm supposed to do it, because it is actually frustrating that a move that is just so simple is actually so complicated. Like, you see tutorials of people teaching the thumb fan and they all say it's that simple. You just have to keep practicing until you figure out what works for you. The next move that I have almost kind of learned is under pressure. Yes, like the Queen song, under pressure is so satisfying. It's like spreading butter on a hot piece of toast. I have actually tried to learn this one because I couldn't do the thumb fan, and it's pretty tough, but at the same time I kind of learned this much easier than I did with the thumb fan. It is kind of tough as a beginner though, because in the end what you have to do is basically be able to put this kind of pressure on an entire deck of cards. I did discover though for many moves that whenever I can do them, it's much easier to actually start practicing them with half of the deck, and then once I actually understand what's happening and what I'm supposed to do and the muscle memory kicks in, I just start to add more cards until I get to the full deck. So that's kind of my way of working around with moves that have been difficult for me. And the latest move on this list is once again another one-handed move. Cut, I mean, you could say it's a cut. It is the one-handed pyramid. The one-handed pyramid is so much fun. As I was learning the one-handed pyramid, I have never dropped cards, and I actually managed to learn it in like 15 minutes or something like that. I'm able to do the one-handed pyramid with both of my hands at the same time. It's something super fun. There is some extension issue in the beginning because you do make the edges of the pyramid, but then once you actually have to slide this part of the deck and move it underwards to create the to create the base of the pyramid, there is this extension that happens on those fingers, which is, again, it's something that's extremely easy for me right now, but your hands just kind of, you know, get used to it, that they kind of just figure out how to adapt on their own to do this kind of stuff, which is actually impressive. So there you have it, guys. Those are the first 11 moves that I tried to learn or actually learned in the past month while trying to understand and learn cardistry. There are at least 6 or 7 more moves that I'm still kind of playing around with, and I also have to understand and be able to actually perform those moves. There's a huge difference between actually learning to do the move, which is just basically moving the cards, and actually performing the move as you actually have an audience, which makes everything look much more visually impressive. So I'm still kind of at the part of, you know, understanding the basics of the moves, then actually performing them. But I thought I'd share how much progress you can have in 1 month. And I actually hope that this hobby is going to stick with me, because I actually like it a lot. And I really hope that maybe like a month, maybe 2 months, I can actually come back with another video and more progress, and maybe actually do some really visually impressive stuff, or at least mediumly impressive stuff. So yeah, this is it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for making it through this really huge video and a lot of b-roll. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope some of you might be interested in cardistry. And if you're actually new to cardistry and you're struggling with things that I've struggled, or you're actually noticing some mistakes that I'm making, please let me know in the comments, because I actually want to get good at this. Thank you once again, guys, for being here. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did like the video, make sure to give it a like. The comments and the subscribes and everything else, you guys know the drill with it. And thank you once again, and I'll see you guys next time, whenever that may be, and whatever the next video might be about. 1 week out.